Hi, and welcome to another episode of Film Recommendations. So the movie this week is The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. Now this is an old movie, but it's a bit of a cult movie at the same time. This film was made in the 1980s, directed by Terry Gilliam, who was, as I've mentioned in other videos, a member of Monty Python. He directed The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, along with Brazil, and several other films that have achieved cult status. Now, cult status, for those not in the know, means that basically it has a small but devoted following, where it speaks to a certain small group of fans. Other examples of these films would be Bugsy Malone, or Office Space was a cult film for a while, although it's gotten a larger following. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which also starred Terry Gilliam, and if I remember correctly was co-directed by him and Terry Jones, both of Monty Python, of course. And the Rocky Horror Picture Show, although it's also gone a bit mainstream. So the Adventures of Baron Munchausen, it's ironic that the film has kind of attained the status it has, because for a long time, the Adventures of Baron Munchausen were one of the most popular books and popular groups of stories in Western literature. And, it was probably second only to the Bible in popularity for a long period of time. And what it is there was an actual person named Baron Munchausen who told these preposterous stories that could never happen. Totally fictional, the kind of stuff you hear about in fairy tales. This film is entirely fictional. And what's amazing is the level of special effects. The film was made using a good number of real effects, sort of like if you watch Bram Stoker's Dracula, starring Keanu Reeves, Gary Oldman, and Anthony Hopkins, among others. They made just a number of real effects. For instance, at one point in the film, they cut from an actor in front of a set, and they turn the camera 180 degrees around him, and he is suddenly facing a real-looking set of an Arabian palace, going from a set of an Arabian palace to the much more realistic set. There is very limited use of blue screen except when necessary in this film, which you would not see if it were done today. If it were done today, the film would be heavily blue screened. They would try and use far more special effects in order to make the shots work. But this film really tries to use more practical effects, makeup, forced perspective models, various things like that. There's no CGI. There's just animation in some scenes, some blue screening when necessary. This film is not terribly long compared to other films of Gilliam's, but it tells an amazing story. It's not quite friendly for kids, but would be fun for teenagers. And it's especially good for teenagers who maybe have kind of given up on imagining things, or think that maybe imagination and being good-natured kind of have fallen by the wayside. At one point, Baron Munchhausen rides on a cannonball, well, grabs onto a mortar shell, and then they fire a cannon at him, and he grabs onto the cannonball and rides it all the way back to where he was in the first place, which of course is totally insane. But what's amazing is they show these wonderful special effects that actually show it happening as if it were real. And nowadays they would want to do it with CGI. In this case, they did it with models, of course, and blue screen, but it doesn't take away from the realism, which is the wonderful thing about Terry Gilliam's films. You know that they are special effects because there's no way that they could really happen, but it doesn't remove your suspension of disbelief. When you're watching, you start off in a much more normal place, sort of like with Time Bandits, which is another cult film of Terry Gilliam's. And as the story progresses, you get taken into a more and more familiar place, and then you don't even know if it really happened. But there's clues that it did. For instance, at the end of Time Bandits, it seems that it was all just a dream, and the little boy, is just back to his normal life. But his parents find a piece of pure evil and touch it, and they blow up. And so that says, oh, maybe it was real. Who knows? The other thing is in the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. You're going through the story, and as it progresses, it comes out in the end where you're not sure if everything that was happening in the story was ever real. And so, there's this constant back and forth with Gilliam, and the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus was easily one of his best mind flippers, where you don't know what actually happened in the end. But I do have to say that Vern Troyer's character was very well played, and I think he deserved an award for supporting role in that film. Other than that, in terms of Baron Munchausen, I would say that there really isn't a bad job of acting done by really anyone. One of the best elements in this story is, of course, the special effects, and throughout the storytelling, the figure of death, the Grim Reaper, with black angel wings and an hourglass to show you that your time is up, and a scythe. They have this character coming up throughout as a very real thing, and it is beautifully done. I have never seen the Grim Reaper portrayed more exceptionally as a figure. He is given full life in this. They don't have him speak lines. They don't have him, negotiate or anything. They simply have him there as a figure, there to collect your soul and take you to the afterlife. And yeah, if you haven't seen this movie by now, run out and check it out. You can get it probably at the library. You can get it online, I know for sure. You can get it at several stores. The DVD that I got from Netflix has full running commentary by the director, which is really cool, as well as I believe one of the actors. And really, it is so enjoyable as a film. You will be hooked from beginning to end with the storytelling, the spectacle, um, the acting, the style, um, not just the visual quality, but the music, uh, the delivery of several of the lines. It is truly a timeless film, and it is held up over the years. It is not an 80s film. It is not a 90s film. It is not a film more befitting of the 1930s or 40s or any other period. It is simply storytelling. It is magic. It is movie magic in the strictest sense of the word. And I think that if you check out The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, directed by Terry Gilliam, you will have a thrill and feel like you have just gotten off a roller coaster of suspense uh, and laughter and delight. So go out, get yourself a copy, take a look at a copy if it's over at a friend's house, watch it somewhere, but check out The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. That's all for this episode. Bye-bye.